Have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on inside your body when you feel totally energized versus, when you feel completely drained? Well, today we're going to dive deep, right down into our cells, to explore a really fascinating study that looks at energy in a whole new way.
So let's just ask the big question right up front. What truly powers your body? And I'm not just talking about food or sleep. We're going way deeper, down to the microscopic level to figure out what's giving us the juice to actually live our lives.
And to answer that, we have to meet the tiny, microscopic stars of the show, our mitochondria.
Okay, so think of these as little tiny engines or powerhouses inside almost every single one of your cells. It's wild. These little guys are responsible for creating over 90% of the energy your body needs just to stay alive and keep your organs running. They are absolutely essential.
Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. The researchers behind this study, they wanted to know if these cellular powerhouses could be influenced by a different kind of energy, one that works on a subatomic level. This is what's often called quantum energy.
So that brings us right to the heart of this entire study. The question they asked was simple but huge. Can this subatomic or quantum energy actually change how our mitochondria work? It's a pretty bold question, right? And to answer it, they had to measure some very specific things.
To get their answer, the researchers basically gave these cells a full physical. They checked out how the cells were using energy, exactly how much energy they were making, and whether that whole process was creating any nasty byproducts. They even looked at the physical shape of the mitochondria to see if they were healthy and working together.
And they didn't just look once. This was a pretty serious investigation that went on for 3 whole months. They took a baseline measurement right at the start. Then they checked in again at 1 week, 1 month, and then one final time at the 3-month mark to see what had changed over time.
So after all that, what did they actually find? Well, the first really big discovery has to do with a major shift in how the cells were using energy. It's a story all about efficiency.
So to get what efficiency means for a cell, we have to talk about something called a proton leak. The best way to think about it is like a leaky pipe or a car engine that's wasting gas. It's when the raw materials for energy just escape before they can be used. So a higher leak means the whole system is pretty inefficient.
And check this out. What they found was that the proton leak actually went down a lot at both the 1-week and 1-month check-ins. Now that's a really big deal. It suggests the mitochondria were getting way more efficient at their job. By 3 months, it leveled out and went back to normal, which might mean the cells had just adapted to a new, better way of working.
So, the cells got more efficient. Awesome. But that's not the whole story. The next piece of the puzzle came from looking at how stressed the cells were and the actual physical structure of the mitochondria themselves.
The main way you measure cellular stress is by looking for something called reactive oxygen species, or ROS for short. Think of ROS as the exhaust fumes coming out of those little cellular engines. A little bit is totally normal, but too much can cause a lot of damage. That's what we call oxidative stress. So yeah, less ROS is a very good thing.
And what they found here was pretty remarkable. When they intentionally put the cells under stress, they produced way less of this harmful exhaust. This means the cells were actually getting more resilient. They were better at handling stress without getting damaged.
But it's not just about stress. It's about teamwork. The source material actually calls mitochondria social organisms, and I just love that description. See, in a healthy system, the mitochondria are all connected, talking to each other in a big network. When you see them isolated and broken apart, that's usually a sign of a problem.
The researchers were able to literally score how healthy this network was, and what they saw was that the mitochondria were getting more and more social over time. The network got stronger, more connected, especially by the end of the 3-month study.
And you can see the difference with your own eyes right here. I mean, look at this. On the left, you see those fragmented, lonely mitochondria. But on the right, that's a healthy, interconnected network. It's a perfect visual of that social organism idea in action.
Okay, so let's step back. After 3 months of this investigation, what's the big picture? Let's put all these clues together.
First things first, the cells were literally making more energy. The data showed that energy production from glucose, which is the body's main fuel, went up over the 3 months. Plain and simple.
Second, the cells were way less stressed out. Remember that key stress marker, the ROS? It was significantly lower. This means the mitochondria were getting stronger and could handle challenges much better.
And finally, the mitochondria themselves just got healthier and more connected.
That social network we talked about was significantly improved, which points to a much more efficient and communicative cellular power grid. So, we've seen how this study showed real, measurable improvements. Our cells got better at making energy, handling stress, and staying healthy. And that leaves us with one heck of a question. If this is what's happening at the cellular level, what could it mean for our overall health and well-being? It's a pretty mind-blowing thought, and something science is just starting to figure out.